Hey guys, welcome to digit.in, and today we're going to review the iPhone 10R. This is supposed to be the budget iPhone. Not really sure how 76,000 rupees is considered budget, but this is the phone that Apple launched during their September event as a way of getting more people into the Apple family. So, anyway, let's begin on the review of the iPhone 10R. After having used the iPhone 10R for about 2 weeks roughly now, there are a couple of things that really stand out about this phone, and there are certain things that feel like Apple may have taken a step back on the iPhone 10R. So first off, what makes this a great phone? Of course, the A12 Bionic Fusion chip, which is leaps and bounds ahead of anything that Android has to offer, making this phone incredibly fast and a dominator in terms of benchmark numbers. So whether you play games, whether you're into productivity, maybe you like editing photos and videos on your phone, this iPhone can handle it all. So in terms of performance, you're not going to feel let down at all. Where things change a little bit is, of course, the display. Now you have a 6.1 inch IPS LCD display. Apple calls this the liquid retina display and says that this is the best LCD on an iPhone ever, and they say this is the most color accurate LCD ever and whatnot, but it has a resolution that's not even HD. When you think about the resolution on this phone, it's only 828 by 1792 pixels, and that puts its pixel density at 326 ppi. The iPhone 8 Plus, in comparison, had a 5.5 inch display and a 1080p resolution. The iPhone 8 was smaller in terms of the display and had a lower resolution as well. But the pixel density overall of the iPhone 8 was also 326 ppi. So you've got a much bigger display, a 6.1 inch display, with a resolution that's actually lower than its predecessor. So overall, not very happy. And the reason is, even if you're trying to stream HD content from YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever, yeah, sure, you can select the 1080p setting. You can select the 4K even if you want, but you'll not be able to enjoy it because this only has 828 pixels that it can support, and therefore your video is cut down to 720p. So this is a flagship phone that doesn't do HD video. Moving on. There's also the problem that, if you think about it, Instagram has a resolution of 1080 by 1080. This phone is not even able to do that resolution. It's 828. So you're not even getting the best Instagram experience ever. But in defense of the LCD itself, it's a very, very good LCD. It's actually extremely bright. It's very color accurate, and putting the 10R and the 10s Max side by side, it's kind of hard to tell the difference in terms of the color accuracy. Of course, when you start playing video content and have the two side by side, then you notice the difference in resolution while playback is going on. In fact, if you put any of the other Android smartphones, which are flagship smartphones like the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, or even the S9 for that matter, which is much smaller, or even the LG G7 Plus Thin Q, which is only 40,000 bucks, you notice the difference in the video playback quality. So that's a little bit of a downer when it comes to the display of the iPhone 10R, which is why I say it feels like a step back. A step forward, again, is the design. If you think about it, the iPhone 10R has a resemblance with the 5C of many years ago. It's got the colors, it's got that vibrant thing going for itself. But at the time, the 5C was a plastic device, and while the regular iPhone 5s and the 5S were made of metal. This year, Apple has chosen to keep the design consistent. That is, that you get a glass sandwich design and a Series 7000 aluminum frame. The frame is painted to match the color of the back, and in case you're wondering, the glass isn't actually colored. It's the layer beneath the glass that has the color treatment applied. So the glass is still transparent. Now, this is actually very nice. There are 6 colors you can choose from. There's, of course, the space gray black version. There is silver. There's also a product red. There's coral, yellow, and blue. So it's a nice selection of colors. The phone is IP67 rated, so that's actually pretty good because you still get all the reliable water resistance you need, and Apple says that they've also tested this to withstand beer, juice, soda, all these other usual liquids that tend to spoil the smartphone. So shouldn't be a problem, and that in a way is a step forward. And it feels that even though this is the entry level iPhone, it's not cheaping out in terms of design. It still looks every bit as premium as the XS and the XS Max. Now, the other step that feels like a step backward is the camera. The iPhone XR only has a single 12 megapixel f1.8 camera, and many will argue that single camera should be fine. It's fine. It performs well. There's no doubt about that. But the lack of a telephoto lens does put limits on what this camera can do. One, you're getting shortchanged out of a different perspective. Two, portrait mode on the XR is completely software based. Now, Apple has a machine learning algorithm in place that's running on the A12 Bionic chip, and what it's doing is in portrait mode, it looks for a human face. And the problem with that is that if there is no human face in the frame, it will not shoot in portrait mode. It will not use the segmentation technology. Not only that, but in fact, you're limited by the fact that there has to be a person in the frame, but there's also the distance limitation. Unlike the Pixel 3, which can shoot anything in portrait mode, regardless of the distance, for the most part, the iPhone XR is not capable of that. So the portrait mode is actually extremely limited on the iPhone XR. However, if you are shooting a person, you will notice that in low light, the portrait mode works better on the XR than it does on the XS. And that's because on the XR, it's using the only lens available to it, which has an aperture of f1.8, which collects more light than the telephoto lens, which has an aperture of f2.4. So you have that advantage. And not only that, but the primary sensor on the XR is bigger than the secondary sensor, which is the telephoto lens wala sensor on the XS and the XS Max. So, there are these trade-offs. But personally, I would have loved that for a phone that starts at 76,990, Apple could have also put a telephoto lens on here, especially seeing how the 8 Plus has a telephoto lens and cost little less at launch last year. Anyhow, moving past that, let's talk about the battery life. Now, because this is an IPS LCD display, the battery life is better on the iPhone XR. It's also got a slightly bigger battery than the XS. This has a 2942 milliamp hour battery, and in my use, it's been giving me consistently about a day and a half of regular usage. This has been my primary phone, and 1.5 days is impressive by any account. And of course, charging the phone, I've been doing fast charging using a USB PD adapter. I also have a USB-C to lightning cable, so fast charging works very well. And if you're wondering, this phone takes about 2 hours to charge from 0 to 100 using the supplied charger that's in the box, which is not a fast type charger. It also supports wireless charging, so that's pretty amazing. And now comes the question of whether you should buy the XR or not. If you're somebody who already has an iPhone 8 or the 8 Plus, the XR is going to be extremely familiar to you in terms of the feature set. It borrows heavily from both the phones in terms of its capabilities. Actually, it's a lot more like the iPhone 8 infused with the A12 Bionic chip. So I personally would say that, if you are a big fan of the iPhone, if you are an Apple loyalist, just spend the extra cash and get the iPhone XS. I mean, that's what Apple wants people to do, right? They want people to fork out the extra money for the premium iPhone. And although this is premium as well, the XS and the XS Max do offer a little more value for money. They offer an HDR display, they offer dual cameras, they offer great battery life, IP68 rating, etc., etc., while the XR only has great battery life going for itself and a bigger display. Yeah, bigger display, but no HDR, no HD playback either. So that's, not very impressive. So I feel that the iPhone XR could have been so much more. It could have been the iPhone of the people had Apple just made some decisions differently. In my opinion, personal opinion, of course, the iPhone XR is a very difficult choice to make. But whether you should buy it or not is basically determined by the fact that if you need the new powerful processor, if your need is for a smartphone that can process and run any app you throw at it, it can do everything flawlessly and with great speed, then the 10R is a better option than the 10s and the 10s Max because it is cheaper. However, if you are also looking at photography, if you're also looking at a great multimedia consumption option, then you're better off with the 10s, or in fact any of the other Android flagships that are available in the market today. But of course, that assumes that you're open to the idea of switching platforms. If not, then the iPhone 10R may not be the ideal smartphone for you, and instead you should probably go for the 10s or the 10s Max. In case you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe you should share this video with a friend who's looking to buy the iPhone 10R but is confused. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned.